have a USP. Well, if everybody's doing the same thing and we're all using AI and we're all sort of, no one's taking that humanness, we're just going to stand still as a whole, country, really. The GDP is going to come to a halt.
Tea or coffee?
Oh, definitely tea. I used to enjoy coffee before COVID, and then that changed my taste buds.
Oh,
Can't
really?
touch it now. Yeah, it's weird.
Oh, my word.
And I never had COVID.
Should I move this away?
But yeah, tea all the time now.
Wow. Have you ever tried an Indian cup of cha?
I don't think so, no.
Oh, no. So next time you come, I'll have to make a nice Indian cup of cha. There's a bit more work involved. It's not just boil the kettle and put a tea bag in.
Wow.
You got to put it on the stove. You got to boil the water in a pan. You got to put some spices in. Secret ingredients, I can't tell you. And you still add a tea bag or tea leaves.
Yeah.
And you bring it to boil. And then you add some milk in. Then you let that boil. And then you let that simmer for a few minutes. And then you pour it.
That's a process. That's committal, isn't it?
It is a process. Beach holiday or city breaks? What do you prefer?
Probably, yeah. It's probably the sea breaks sort of thing. It's the
holiday.
city breaks or sea
City
breaks.
breaks?
Sorry, city breaks. Yeah, I've just come back from London. I've just had 2
Ah.
days in London where we've been doing the touristy things. So that it's just a lot of walking. But then if I were to do the beach thing, get bored. So I need a break between both. I think a bit of each.
Bit of both. Okay. Cats or dogs?
Dogs, definitely. Yeah.
Ooh, you didn't even have to
definitely
think
a dog
about
person.
that.
I'm allergic to cats.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they always. I go around to my friends and they sort of see me as a challenge.
Okay.
The cats, so they'll sit there front of the side at rooms if say, and I'm like obviously well away from them because I'm like don't come near me, don't come near me. But it's almost like I'm gonna convert her. So I just attract them to me, even though I have to run away because if I touch them, then I start sneezing.
Oh, really? And is it all cats or a particular?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So I didn't realize I was allergic to a particular type of cat because all my life. Not that we've ever had a cat or a dog, but if a cat came close to me, I would stroke it or, no drama. And we were in San Diego and we got invited to someone's house and we were there and they had cats there. But when I came out, I was feeling uncomfortable and itchy and all sorts.
Yeah.
But... And anyway, I didn't have a clue of why I felt this, and I didn't tell anybody because you just don't. Sometimes you don't. The penny doesn't drop. Then afterwards, I realized after taking antihistamine and speaking the next day that must have been the cat fur.
Yeah.
That particular cat because I've never had that experience before or even after.
And it's strange that dog has fur, but I can stroke any breed of dog, and it's strange, isn't it?
Very bizarre. How
the human body.
I know. Yeah, absolutely. Would you prefer Netflix binge watches or board games?
I think a bit of both. It depends what mood. I mean, I do love the true crime stuff, as you can imagine. True crime documentaries, do watch a lot of those. But my daughter writes murder mystery games. So they're like tabletop games where everything's in like detective case files. So we sort of have to. We play those through a bit of market research and also to support her. So we do play board games as a family. I mean, they're grown up now with my kids, but it used to be a thing that we'd, on a Sunday night or a bank holiday, we'd get the board games out.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Pineapple on your pizza?
Yeah. Anything, yeah.
Don't mind.
Yeah, I love mushrooms though. Mushroom pizza or bolognese. We're really going off on a tangent now.
Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Early bird. Definitely. So I can get up at any time and I'm quite productive first thing, but by 9 o'clock, that's it, bedtime for me. I really struggle staying awake past that time. And I don't know how, I just sort of got into that
habit.
Habit. It seems to get earlier, really. I can go to bed at 8 o'clock.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. And in the early, is there a routine? Do you do any meditation or anything like that? Or is it just get up and
It's
work?
just exhaustion. In the morning. No, just I can just get up and I'll have a cup of tea just to come round a bit, and then I can be straight on my computer. But I find the later I leave it, if I am sort of having a computer day and it's sort of work time and I'm not coming out to wonderful things like this, then if I were to leave that, then the day's gone. I don't actually get round to it in the same way. So it's almost like, the eat that frog, the procrastination. If I get on early before I even think about what I'm doing and get an hour or two out of the way, the day will be productive. If I don't do that, the day's wasted. It's strange.
Wow.
Yeah.
Concert or comedy show?
Say that again, sorry.
Concert or comedy show? Which do you prefer?
Comedy show, probably. Yeah. I'm not into crowds and things. I like to do. I like a lot of different experiences. I'm far more an experienced person than materialistic. So I spend money on doing things and going places. But yeah, concerts, they're just too loud and crowded for me, unfortunately.
Do you prefer the winter snow or summer sun?
Summer sun. I feel the cold everywhere. I do, honestly. It's terrible. I actually thought coming into the menopause, I'm going to get hot flushes. I'm going to feel warm for once, and it's just not happened. I'm gutted.
Do you prefer texting or talking?
Both, really. It depends on the person and the context. What I don't like is phone calls. I'm actually really phobic about them. I really don't like phone calls at all. So if, like the people say, oh, just phone them and get the answer to your question. I'm like, no, I'll email or I'll text. And it's like anything other than having to phone. I don't know why. I stutter, I think, on the phone. Okay. But in any other form of communication, I don't.
Yeah, perfectly okay.
Yeah, it's weird.
How interesting. Camping or 5-star hotel?
5-star hotel. I went camping once and I would never again. You'd have to drag me camping. I could try glamping, I think. But yeah, I will never ever go camping. I'd rather not have holiday.
I'll stay at home.
We took the kids when they were little and it was just, it was an experience, but not one to be repeated. Definitely not.
Don't understand.
I don't like roughing it.
You don't like roughing it. Fair enough. Well, Dan, congratulations. You got 10 out of 10.
All right.
So, Dan, again, thank you for your time and coming to our podcast. Tell me, what do you do and who do you serve?
So I do a couple of different things. So the first half of the social enterprise that I've got is ethical AI training. And I know that everybody and the dog almost has gone into the AI field. It's such a fantastic thing that's galloped ahead, especially over the last 18 months. But the way I come at it is probably with caution. I do think it's a fantastic tool. I do use it every day, but I think that there's a lot that we have to learn from our humanness as such to use it properly and responsibly. So there's a lot of things that it can't do, but there's a lot of discrimination, a lot of bias, and there's a lot of fallout that's literally on the brink of different situations, different sectors that I can see are going to happen sort of over the next year, because some companies have run away with the pound signs and not really thought about what the reputational or staff, their human risk could be. So I sort of go into businesses and sort of business programs and come with that approach of sort of, let's take all the fantastic things that AI can give us, but let's look at the things that could go wrong and find a way to minimise risk and to be aware of how to get the best out of it, because just using it blindly is not getting the best out of any of those tools. So that's the first half. The second half, because there's a lot of research linked to AI about how we're actually relying on it too much and our critical thinking is going down the pan, to the point that some young people's brains are almost going to mush because they're not using their critical thinking, they're not being taught problem solving, they don't tend to use their brain with what AI spits out. But then how do they learn that? You don't actually in school get to learn critical thinking. It's something that you tend to learn in university, where they teach you how to be analytical and they teach you how to look at things different ways. So I've developed essentially a critical thinking workshop that revolves around true crime. So the Battle of the Barristers, we take people, whether that's people who want to do a team building, alternative team building day, students in college or universities or later in high school, or just groups, any group of people that want to do it basically. We take them and split them into prosecution and defence, straight down the middle. We take a true crime that's been carefully selected by us, and we give them all the real evidence that was there at the original trial. Then they go away and deliberate their case for about an hour or so, and then they come back and argue against the other half. So it teaches critical thinking, respectful debate, different points of view. There's so many things that people get out of that, as well as true crime enthusiasts just love being a barrister for the afternoon anyway. But yeah, there do seem two services that are at odds with each other, but I actually think that they're quite complementary of each other. But my background is in forensics and a real interest in human psychology. So I must admit the courtroom trials and that sort of workshop, that immersive experience is definitely what I want to explore and build on.
Fantastic.
That's a very long answer to that question.
No, it is, but I think it is much needed. Yeah. Because it's hard to appreciate without the context and without the explanation.
It is difficult to explain both sides, really, because I suppose people don't think, as I say, with the AI, they don't really think of the ethics or what can go wrong. And with the courtroom trials, there's no way I can do that in an elevator pitch. I've tried, and it's just not possible. It's easier to demonstrate, to be honest, and we're a young company, so we haven't done too many of them, but we want to do more sort of B2C with these, or certainly get into more groups, B2B basis, and have just more people come and enjoy them, because we've had students come on it and they've been doing accounting, for example, at college. They've come on and done a Battle of the Barristers workshop, and they've wanted to switch to law, because in the afternoon their mind's been blown and they've been like, I have absolutely loved this, I want to change what I'm doing, and that's the impact it's had on them. We've had people that have come who've just come as a great night out sort of thing, and they've been, when are you doing another, when can we do another one, when can we do this again? But it's hard until they come on it to explain it. But yeah, we just want to keep building and growing that.
Fantastic. I've got lots of questions around that. That sounds so interesting, and it's nice to hear. We obviously we're speaking to so many businesses, and we've got a good client. We've got a good mix of clients that are doing work in different areas: education, manufacturing, professional services, and other. But there's not that many still bringing focus to the experiential side, and I think that's nice to hear.
I think in the last probably 18 months, unfortunately, the economy's not been very good. So even though I've had some fantastic conversations with businesses and they said, oh, that's amazing, my team would love to do that, the budget just hasn't been there. So I do understand, I know that it's a nice to have, it's not a necessity, but I'm hoping when things pick up and people start growing the teams again, because it has been rocky, hasn't it, for the last... I don't know however long, and hopefully that'll be another, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. Hopefully that'll be over soon, and we'll start to see some growth. But I well understand that it's not a priority for some businesses. But to be honest, if you're using AI or anything as a cost-cutting feature, you're actually going backwards as a business, I think, because it's without that human element and seeing how it enriches your team, not how it replaces your team.
Of course.
You're sort of on a ticket to nowhere. You know, it's actually going to stifle your business having that approach. So yeah, it's I can see it from my side of the fence how both services are great for growth and how businesses can benefit from it. But I do understand that businesses are keeping the cards close to the chest at the moment.
How interesting. I'm going to dig deeper on some of them points a bit later. Just tell me, what's your geography? What's your reach? Meaning, do you serve businesses in the Yorkshire area or nationwide? And what's the makeup of the business? Is it you and yourself? Is it a team of you? How big is that team? Is it 2 or 20 or 200? Just so we get an idea of your makeup.
So it's a social enterprise, so it's a kick, and it's only it's just coming up to 2 years of trading, so it's still very young. It's myself in the business doing all the delivery, and my daughter, who does the murder mystery games, helps write some of the workshop content, and she does my social content as well. So we're both just sort of freelancers in the business at the moment. It's not a full-time business, unfortunately, and that's what I'd love to grow more. Yeah, we'd go anywhere, or certainly I'd go anywhere where anybody wants me, really. So I'm not just tied to Yorkshire. It'd just probably be the same prices plus the travel for me to go in outside of the county, but I'm more than willing to do that because I just love delivering it. It's the outcome is different every time because it's depends on the debate of that team. You know,
it's not about the outcome though, isn't it? It's
about how well
and how you navigate.
How well they argue, how well they play the barristers. So I only learned. I went to the Bow Street Police Museum yesterday when I was in London, and I've still got to do some research on this, but there was sort of a fact on the wall that said up until 1986 police used to present details and evidence in court. Lawyers didn't do that. So it's almost like lawyers are not that new, and they're quite a new thing as such. So to be a barrister or to be a lawyer is not necessarily it's not as if everybody gets to do that. So how else would you have that sort of experience? We go to the jury experiences. Don't know if you've seen those. There's a lot of event people that do that, but they tend to be like a play. So you'll watch the crime unfold. They'll have people playing the actors in the actual crime as such, and they'll argue a court case out, and then your immersion of it is just to say guilty or not guilty at the end. Other than that, you aren't influencing it. You're not part of it. You are passive and watching it.
You're part of the audience, really.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like a theatre show. They're very well done. I'm not saying that they're not, but there's a place for everything. Completely different experience. So with ours, you are taking part from day one. We don't give the whole team the experience, the full evidence. So one person might get the autopsy report, one person might get the crime scene photos, one person might get the background on the suspect, and then you've got to work as a team to put your case together, because it's otherwise you could have some people twiddling their thumbs. Or one of the things that we sort of are really keen on is to make sure, as introverts, which we are, we go to a lot of team building things in the past, and we've felt that extroverts have taken over, or it's been very competitive or sporty, which isn't
or the person with the loudest voice.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that we actually feel the workshops help with, because you can't have just one person stood there spouting from the beginning and taking over, because they won't have all the information to do that. They've got to work as a team. So
you force them to
they've got to I don't really admit this, but I suppose this is public, isn't it? But I do steer it if I feel that on one side or the other there's somebody that's not either taking it seriously, or they need to be humbled, or they're being too extrovert over their teammates. And I will, because they separate them, I will interject, and I can influence either side, and maybe give a tip to one side and not the other, and it just helps it be a more balanced outcome, so every teammate gets an experience. And as they say, no one's just sat there just watching it all pass by them. They are taking part. And some people in some businesses and cultures in the business sometimes don't feel they can do that. They do get sort of, they're quieter, so they get walked all over, or they get ignored, or they don't feel that they can contribute as much as everybody else. And to me, that's again, a wrong thing in a team. These are the things that we want to correct. We want to help with that situation. So everybody should get an immersive experience on these workshops. And there's a lot of things in our mind that we're ticking on a box level, tick for debate, tick for, respectful communication.
Listening, confidence.
Exactly.
And all of that good stuff.
Yeah.
Empowerment, leadership, knowing when to not talk, when to talk. These skills are needed every day.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of people just take over the conversation, and it's like they don't allow the rest of the room to talk and have that voice. And that's actually it's eye-opening, isn't it?
It is, because if it's if fair enough, my events on you're taking an afternoon out of work, you're having a fun experience. Hopefully you'll all come together and have a great bonding experience and collaborative afternoon. But if that situation is happening day in, day out in your company, and you're going into boardrooms and the same people are making the same decisions, or the same voices are being heard, that's not innovating your business. Your business is just going to be siloed. You're going to have that same approach. And as the world adapts and changes, which it does, that's the one constant in life, is that it changes all the time. Why would you want that? Why would you just want the same people doing the same things? Was it Einstein? If you do the same thing every day but expect different results, it's that has to be the worst team makeup. If you only have 2 or 3 voices that are always speaking over everybody, you're not going to foster innovation in your team.
I love that. I do. How does the saying go? If you keep doing the same thing that you've always done, you're going to keep getting the same things that you've always got.
Yeah. And sometimes I think, depending on who their bosses are, they might not see that or know that's going on.
Yeah.
Because they're just maybe looking at the printouts or the bottom line or the sales reports. But for the people actually working in that team, 50% of people in team, by the statistics, are introverts. So these are the people that like to be quite measured in what they do. They like to, as you say, take the time, know when to talk. They look at everything and absorb all the information before coming forward with an opinion. But if you haven't given them time to do that, because
process.
the extroverts are sort of, and I'm not knocking extroverts, it's great to have a mixed team, it's great to have, but if
that diverse team is valuable,
you've got to
play to strengths,
and adjust to the people that may be taking longer or have different ways of working, and that's all that I think a lot of team building tries to qualify or to sort of highlight is just getting that mix right, getting that balance right, so that everybody feels that they're valued and they're contributing, and it's not just the same faces or the face fits or the favourites, you know. And I've worked at lots of places where that has happened, you know, the face fits phenomenon is always something that the people on the bottom line are very, very acutely aware of, but the people at the top are never know that that's happening. Absolutely oblivious,
It's so interesting. I've always thought, and, you know, I might be wrong here, but I've always thought when you work as a team, without sounding derogatory, because you've got an objective or you want to get somewhere, but it's not about right or wrong, but you've got to then work to, and this is my point about not sounding derogatory, you've got to work to whoever is the slowest or in that team, you've got to work at that pace, because it's more important to go together as opposed to we're there, but you leave somebody dangling because they haven't grasped it or they haven't processed it, because everybody works in a different way. They
do. They have different ways of taking in information, don't there? Some people are auditory, some people, you know, they prefer it written down. Absolutely. So it's just, I think, accommodating everything. And businesses are getting better at recognising the different brains and how they work, and also like neurodivergent people, how they're processing information differently in a way, and I think we are doing better in that regard, but I think it's probably doing it on a day-to-day basis consistently as a culture rather than just every now and again is probably, we're a bit far from that maybe. You know, it's almost like an aspiration at the moment.
Absolutely. We you know, it comes down to the word you just said there, which is culture. Culture in the business, culture in our community, culture at home. Do we embrace things? Are we willing to listen to new ideas, new thoughts, or are we stuck in our ways? And are we always going to do what we've always done? And I think living in a cosmopolitan world, having different diversity in business, I think that's a good thing, and we need to embrace it, celebrate it, and use it as a creative advantage or an unfair advantage, as opposed to just saying, well, no, this is our process and system. We work in frameworks, and that framework needs to accommodate as much as possible everyone and everything. You've got a goal and you've got to move forwards, but I think frameworks works well for the way we work, because it's not rigid. It's not like this is the way, the only way. And we're process driven, because you've got to have a process that's repeatable.
You're all going towards an outcome, aren't you?
Absolutely. But for us, it's more about let individuals own that, and they might actually come up with a better solution if you give them a bit of breathing space.
Maybe, that's it. I mean, it's empowering people, isn't it? Giving them the autonomy. I think that is key. And I think probably as AI gets more entrenched in companies, that actually this is going to be more important, really, because people already, you know, you only have to go on LinkedIn and everybody will say, oh, I can tell it's AI because it sounds like this. So AI sounds the same every time. So if we're not celebrating the differences or our human quirks, shall I say, of each person, and adding these things, we are all going to sound the same as businesses, and then we're going to go backwards, aren't we? That's just, I mean, you know, how do you stand out as a business? We talked about that earlier. How do you have a USP? Well, if everybody's doing the same thing and we're all using AI and we're all sort of, no one's taking that humanness, absolutely, we're just going to stand still as a whole, you know, country, really. The GDP is going to come to a halt.
Of course. So, you know, I like how you, in your narrative, you constantly say humanness. In our narrative, we constantly say humanize your brand, because videos everywhere, and videos everywhere. And what we see is that if you put yourself in front of the camera and you connect with people on the other side, that's the second best way to connect. So the first best way is how you're doing it from that experiential point of view. Nothing beats an eyeball to an eyeball, whether we're across the table or in a room together, because there's an element of energy that we can't describe, but there's an energy in the room when people are meeting together. But the second best way to connect is through video, and where you put yourself on camera and you can connect to people on the other side, because they can hear your voice, they can see you, and they can read your body language, and that speaks volumes with regards to building that connection. Whereas a lot of other businesses, when they're talking about video and content, they do lots of animations, and animation has its place, but to get that emotional connection, it either has to be Walt Disney level, to take you on that story, on that journey, or the best way for us, because let's be honest, most businesses don't have that budget. Coca-Cola does, Apple does, but most businesses that are in the SME, medium size, and even corporate size businesses, they don't want to allocate that kind of budgets to corporate comms or to comms in general. So we always say, well, humanize your brand. Who is the content expert? Who's the face of this department or the business or the campaign? And let's lead with that, because then they will connect with the audience much easier than just graphics. What we're also seeing, which is really interesting, with a lot of e-com brands, or a lot of brands that are really leveraging social media and TikTok. So there's a whole thing with influencers playing a big role on online. But excuse me, my cough's getting in there. But with some of the larger brands that are actually international, what they're doing is they're getting influencers or voices and faces from their local geography. So if you're selling in America, let's get some American influencers. If we're selling in the UK, get UK, because we relate
makes
to
sense.
makes sense. When you
Yeah.
think about it, it makes perfect sense. Because you're going to relate to that local market. You're going to speak in the right accent, in the right lingo, and you might have the right jargon. Us Yorkshire folk speak in a particular way. The Southerners speak in a particular way. So we might not get some of the nuances that a particular geography, a particular culture, a particular target market has. So I think it's really important. So it's a really interesting trait that needs to be woven into the content and the messaging and the work done.
I think that's certainly with AI, that people may think that's I can afford AI because it's free in most cases, so I can do all my own marketing. I don't like being in front of the camera, so I'll do an avatar or as you say, that animation. But then there isn't that personality there. So you sort of, again, coming back to sort of that cookie cutter thing, and people can't relate to it. And as you say, 93% of our communication is through body language and stuff that we don't actually say. So you need to see that. You need to, the personalities, when you think of like Ryanair and Aldi, who were doing the banter, and even though you actually still don't know the person behind it, you know that there is a human behind it, because of the way that they're reacting to things, and the humour, I think, goes a long way. I think that's what makes a lot of difference in marketing. I warm personally to brands that make me laugh or that I can connect with on a humorous level, but I realise that's not every business. You wouldn't want that from a funeral director, for example, but I would. I don't know. I'm probably have that really weird sense of humour that make me laugh. But yeah, I do think that the sort of that humanising thing is something that, if you're using AI, you're cutting out what's going to work. That know your audience, just as you've said. Well, AI can't know your audience any better than you at all. If anything, it's going to distance you from your audience. It's going to take away the things that people will warm to, and as you say, influencers have got there because people have warmed to them. They've built an audience. People have followed them, not necessarily because of what they say or what they're selling, but because they're just
warm to them.
They just like them, just connect with them. So that probably is a really good way of marketing that will only get better, because we'll want more of that. If we're seeing all the the deep fake or the how can you trust this, especially if it's too polished and too perfect. That's not how humans are. We like to see the bloopers or the things that go wrong sometimes actually can do more for you than everything being. If you wait for everything to be perfect in anything, you'll be waiting forever. We're not built to be like that. So
we're not. Yeah, I mean, you touch on a great point about humor. So when we're creating content for all our clients, nobody likes to be sold to. So we never say, we don't want to do them salesy ads. Now, television, traditionally, the adverts are all salesy because you've got a 30-second window. It's in between programs. So they want to get their message out, their promotion, and buy now, get in touch now, come now, because it's a very direct call to action. Social media is a totally different animal. 3 seconds in, people, if they don't like it, they just scroll past it.
Exactly. Our attention spans are worse than goldfishes.
Yeah, absolutely. So from that point of view is, the hook's super important. But circling back to the point you made about humor, there's two kind of strands that we always recommend to our clients. And with the work we do is that, let's not be salesy, because we don't like to be sold to. So we want to help people buy. Now, that's one point. But how can we deliver that information? Either we have to be educational or we can try to weave in humor. Now, not everybody can do that. And it's nice. It's an unfair advantage if you can.
Yeah.
And if you can, then great. And, again, not everybody will get it. And so I would say just maybe do 30% humorous and leave 70%, the lion's share still being educational. But if you can mix it in, put it in the mix, is definitely an unfair advantage. But with regards to education, it's about what are the problems your customers or your potential audience are experiencing. Really focus on them in your comms in that first hook, and then really help them navigate through, that's the problem, so they can create some alignment. Then offer the solution to, these are the solutions that we have seen, experienced, and learned to navigate through that and to come to this answer. So it's always transformation. This is the problem, and this is where you probably are, but this is where we can get you to through this process. And for the right people that resonate, they'll watch it, they'll engage with it, and they might even click to learn more. Just not thinking about working in the business, working on the business. What's your biggest challenge at the moment?
I think I mentioned it earlier, just trying to get businesses to see that this could be a problem. They probably don't feel that they might have a problem with teams that feel disconnected, or maybe they want them back into the office and they're struggling to get them back because they've not felt part of a team for a long time if they've been remote working. So they've not really... They just feel as if they're working on their own, but you want people to come in, because a lot of good ideas come from, and collaborations come from sort of office work. But I do get that, it's great to have the flexibility to work from home. So for bosses, I think they're in a bit of a difficult position of how they can get the best out of people while still being sympathetic to commutes and childcare and things like that. So, having people feel like they want to be part of a team would be the start there. If someone doesn't even feel connected to their employer or their colleagues, that is a big problem in that whole process. How are they even going to get back into the office if they don't even want to? There's probably some people, if they're remote workers, don't even know who the colleagues are. Maybe they never met them in person. So that's probably one problem. The other problem that we mentioned was the siloed thought, the group think. Are you employing sheeple or people? Does everybody do sheeple or people? Do people feel that they could be innovative or to challenge the status quo in your business, or are they people that, you sort of rule with an iron fist and they don't say anything? So we'll always do what's been done because you say we should. Do you foster that creativity and imagination within your team? And also just... Same with team building. If you are doing a team building day, are you doing what you've always done? Is it a golf day? Which, if you've got females on your team, probably most of those aren't interested. And, it's or go ape where you're hanging from zip wires. And it's great for the people who have that sort of adrenaline kick and they want that sort of thing. But it seems to be that is what traditional team building was thought of, and not necessarily that people nowadays might want more of a... sort of an intelligent experience. They don't necessarily want to have a physical experience. It's something that's just going to make them think differently to what they do in their day-to-day work. So my problem for me is certainly getting people to see that there is a problem in the first place. That's why I'm finding it actually quite difficult, because it is something that I see as a problem from hearing the employees talk, but it's getting the bosses to understand that the problem's there in the first place. So they're as I said, keeping the budgets safe because they don't see the problem. They don't want to spend on what they'll see as superfluous. Or let's have a jolly out for the afternoon on Diane's courtroom trial. That's great, but can we really afford it? My thing is, can you afford not to do that? Absolutely. How is your team performing? How connected do your team feel with each other? How innovative are they? How often do they see something that could be better within the business, or do they just get up on a morning, go through the motions and finish at whatever time? It's growth is going to be so important over the next few years. You've seen how stagnant the UK economy is. It's can it get worse? And how there's only growth that's going to get us out of it. Can we rely on the government to instill that, or do we have to do it ourselves? And that starts with your people. Your greatest asset in business is your people. If you're just thinking of how can I save money with AI, not the right approach at all. I mean, it's AI making a person better is what will take your business forward. I'm not saying that there isn't. There's a lot of surplus in some businesses that have been carried forward from human surplus from COVID, maybe, where I think businesses maybe have not done anything drastic and they've just got, one day at a time, not really thought long term. And maybe there is the excuse with AI that they're going to sort of redefine their teams and look at strengths and weaknesses and do we actually need everybody there? That's not AI's fault, but I think AI is going to push that conversation. But you've still got to think about the people that are there or the people that do actually work for you. How can you make them better? AI is going to do one thing, but their relationship with their colleagues, their relationship with you, their loyalty and interest in the business is going to be the other half of the coin. That's not necessarily going to be something that you can buy in a software pack. This is stuff that you've got to work on. You've got to look at maybe objectively and think, have we always fostered that culture in the business? Have we always made people think that if they have got an idea, can they come to us? Do people just want to come for the paycheck and go home? Which some people do, but if all your team are doing that, I think you've got a bit of a problem. Where's the actual growth going to come from if that's the case? You're going to find more competition in your field. You're going to find buyers that eventually you can't just keep doing the same thing. You've constantly got to innovate in business.
I resonate with so many things that you've said there, because for me it's the whole employee experience. Peace. And are you getting maximum efficiency? Are you getting that delight through the teams and into the output? Is your business month on month, year on year, are you getting growth, expected growth? Could you go beyond that growth limit? And that's direct correlation to your team.
Yeah, absolutely.
The people that are doing the work.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate the challenge of, businesses don't have budgets, but I love the point that you said, can you afford to do it? I think can you afford not to do it?
Yeah, that's it.
And if I could make a suggestion, what comes to my mind is, create a free survey, make the survey for the managers or the owners that and that's your route in, so you get on the wavelength of the decision maker. It's free, no resistance, low barrier of entry, very little friction, and it's a digital survey, and they pass it around the whole teams so that you are helping them gather insights on what does that employee experience look like? Is everybody getting fulfillment, or are we lacking in certain areas? And then let them see their own numbers, and then it would feel like a slightly easier conversation to say, well, what have you done in the last 3 years, and you want this to keep repeating for the next 3 years? Because the work that you're describing to me feels strategic, not tactical. So from a strategic point of view, it's like turning a ship. It's going to take time, but you've got to invest in it. You have to do it. And rather than you trying to sell it to them, I think they need to own that actually, I can recognize, because they need that visibility, that they can recognize actually there's a bit of fat here, and we could be a leaner machine, and there's a strategy that we could employ yourself in your toolkit, in your toolbox, whether it's the AI or a combination of AI and the other, what do you call the service?
Critical thinking.
Yeah,
critical thinking workshops.
with the AI and the critical thinking to actually make the next year, and that goes into 2 and year 3, actually stronger, tighter, and better with regards to improving efficiencies.
Yeah.
So that's what comes to my mind straight away with regards to, well, okay, I would probably jump onto LinkedIn, get all your first degree connections who are MDs, owners, entrepreneurs, say, would you be interested in a free survey? Because obviously everyone's interested in only what's in it for me.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
they're not bothered about anything else because they're too busy in their own world. And how else can we build that rapport, that relationship that helps them achieve what they want to do? And I'm pretty confident that they would probably say, all right, it's a free survey. What's it about? It's going to help me in my business. Okay, that's actually what I don't have time to do, but it's all mapped out.
Yeah.
And they can do something really simple around that gives you and that business owner an opportunity to have a healthy discussion.
Yeah, no, that's a good approach. Yeah.
Beyond that, what also comes to my mind on both points, and they're both really relevant things, I think, contextually, where we are 2025 and going forwards. I think the demand and need to understand AI is just going to grow and grow and grow.
Yeah.
So I think using AI responsibly is a very hot topic. I've spoken on previous podcasts with other guests that have come in here about the same kind of thing. So I think that there's a growing opportunity to just help businesses and people just navigate through this new territory, because the landscape is changing.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, you can't call yourself an AI expert, because as soon as you feel that you've got on top of one thing, then it's almost on a like a daily basis. Things change. So I'm not a techie person at all. I'm not. Maybe it's sort of back to the coaching element and the human part. So for me, when I do workshops on AI, I don't come at it from a software or a technology point of view. It's mainly aimed at people who haven't used AI. They've maybe been fearful. They've maybe read too many of the headlines, they don't want to change. They feel that using AI is going to make them part of this whole Terminator type future that they don't want to, if they sort of pretend it's not there, it won't happen.
It might go away.
So with the workshops that I hold on the AI side, they're for sort of maybe smaller to medium-sized businesses, certainly not bigger businesses, but ones that maybe there are some people in workplaces that actually don't even have the required minimum digital skills for 2025. So we're not even talking AI, we're talking just even being able to use, say, Microsoft packages, things like that. So being able to get everybody on a sort of at least the same footing when it comes to AI, and holding the hand. It's a safe space. We actually go through, they all come with the laptops, we go through prompts together, we create a pretend company, and we do certain tasks with that company. So we might have an analytical task, a content creation task, research, all sorts of different prompts that I sort of go in ready with them, and we talk about what the output is, we talk about what AI is given and what could be wrong with that, how would you improve your prompts, how would you do this. So it is more of a hand holding into AI. So the ethics are definitely part of it, but I don't believe in talking at people for an hour either, because my point is, like you talked earlier of getting people from A to B. I've gone to so many different AI workshops because I'm interested in it, and I want to keep on top of things. And there's people that have literally either gone far too high level above the audience that's been there, or they've just talked at you for an hour. And if you're someone who's not used AI, you've gone home, you've probably put tea on, you've forgotten all about it. You're still not using AI because all you've done is absorb the information, but applying it is the big thing. How do we actually apply it? So at least in the sessions that I hold, the practical session seems to be welcome to people that have not used it before, because they do go out thinking, oh, it is amazing, I know what, we've covered all the sort of things, that how to use it responsibly and what can go wrong, but having the headspace to play about with it for 2 hours, you'd think that'd be easy to find, but in people's busy lives, they go home and there's they've got mum and dad hat on, or they've got something, they're doing something else, and you just don't find the time. And if you've also got that fear as well of AI and you're not quite sure where to get started, I don't know of anybody else in my area, at least, that provides that sort of absolute starting point. They're all sort of going in at a level assuming that you're already using it. But for workplaces, if you've got people that aren't even, as I say, using computers to the best of their ability now, you know, they're sort of getting by because they know how to do the job. But anything else that, you know, if anything went wrong, they you know, they've got the basics and that's it. Then AI is never going to be part of their toolkit unless someone actually sort of sits them down, takes them through it, shows them how to do it. Will they do that in their business? Will people do it when they go home? No. So a 2-hour workshop with me, they go out and I can see that little part in their eye when they sort of use it for the first time, like, the mind's blown. You see like almost like a little atom bomb go off in their eyes and they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is what people have talked about. Wow. And then I bring them down. I was like, yeah, but think about this, think about that. But yeah, I do get great feedback, but it's because it's specifically aimed at a problem that really is a problem that's already there, that some people haven't used AI before. They don't know where to start with it. They don't know where to go to be started with it, and they don't want to be laughed at, they don't want to be made to feel that they're incompetent or anything like that. So yeah, it's a beginner's approach, absolutely, because anything past that and you've gone past me anyway.
It's too deep. Too
deep.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really interesting. I'm just going to change lanes a little bit and ask a question. Knowing what you know now, rewind 15 years, 20 years, what would you do differently, if anything?
Oh, God, probably everything. Oh, we haven't got long enough, honestly. I am very flaky. That's one of my biggest flaws, really. So I wish I could be more consistent and I wish I could stick to something, but I am so... All I want to do from getting up on the morning is learn new things, do new things. But then... I don't find consistency that it doesn't, those two things don't sort of go hand in hand. So I do have a lot of experience in different sectors and a lot of different skills because I've never really sort of stayed in one market. And that sounds like, oh, wouldn't that be great? You know, Diane can do all these different things, but it has its downsides because whereas at the moment I'm obviously wanting to, you know, I talk about AI on LinkedIn and on my website, but I also talk about the courtroom trials. But because people have known me for other businesses and other things, which I still do, so I've been in book publishing, I've got a book publishing brand as well. It's hard for me to be known as, you know, Diane the person for this, Diane the person for that. So that is quite difficult to get over sometimes, and it's a problem of my own making. So I don't really know what to do about it, but I just keep having the conversations and seeing what comes out of it, seeing what people are interested in. And because my background's been in forensics and I just love the humanness of criminology and seeing what people do in their daily life and how that can sometimes go wrong and how that's led to being in the justice system. I have such a passion for true crime, and I would call myself a true crime enthusiast or aficionado, and I suppose I know how to hide a body, I know how crime scenes are investigated, you know, it's a fascinating knowledge. I don't put it into action. But that is really what floats my boat. The other stuff, so like the AI, I fell into it, I can do it, I do enjoy helping people, but that is where my heart lies. And as I say, it's been a bit of an issue to sort of be that person or be known for that one thing.
What was the Netflix series that came on a few years ago? It'll still be there. Was it How to Hide a Murder? Do you remember?
Was it the making of a murder?
Was it making of a murder?
That was the American
case. There's the university group.
Oh no, there's so many.
There's so many.
There is, yeah.
I've got to find it now. I'm not gonna. let me see. I'm sure my kids have got Netflix on my phone. No?
There's some really good ones. Yeah, especially the true crime, because obviously the sort of fictional ones are. I love watching 24 Hours in Police Custody as well.
Yeah.
Love that one. The American crimes,
which was
they do treat the way that they deal with crimes in America is so different to how we do it in the UK. So it's not as enjoyable for me to watch because I don't relate to it as much. But I've worked alongside sort of police officers in the UK for many years and in different disciplines as well, not just in one.
Remember seeing that on Netflix? How to Get Away with Murder?
No, I've not seen. I've heard of it, but I've not actually watched that one.
We saw
is
the
that
whole
true
series.
Crime or is that a fictional thing?
I think it's fictional.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's fictional. Yeah. with that, it was a fun watch though.
There are some really good ones. Netflix has it has a great bank of documentaries about true crime and fictional series like that. They are so good. You could just binge watch, and there's so many people that in the statistics, I think something like 4 out of 5 of us love true crime documentaries and watching things like that. So that's a hell of an audience, a hell of a lot of people that
have a
real interest, and that sort of fancy themselves as armchair detectives.
So staying in the realm of like 15, 20 years, probably more 20 than 15, for our graduates and people coming out of school, university, looking for apprenticeships and going into the world of work, what's your advice to them?
Well, I would start to look at ways that they can develop their brains. So that comes into like problem solving and critical thinking. Look at puzzles. I mean, even like MI5 use puzzles to train their, their recruits. But that's what's going to make your brain sharper and faster. Self-development, try and listen to an audio book, even if you do, say, one a week, just to constantly keep those brain cells firing and renewing, because the minute you sort of step back and let AI do it for you, or you let life do it for you, or you just coast through, you start to have such a disadvantage competitively. And you have to sort of show when you're going into these, especially from sort of graduate positions, the entry-level jobs are actually what AI is taking. So it's actually really difficult for them. I'd hate to be a young person now. I say that hand on heart, because whereas before you'd come out of university and you think, right, well, I've got the qualification, I now need to get the experience. And that was the difference between you and someone 20, 30 years down the line. But now, if AI's taking the graduate jobs, the entry-level stuff, how are they meant to get the experience? So that is actually being made hard. It was already competitive and hard for them anyway, if you go back 10 years. How are they going to do that now? So if they do voluntary work, or they just try and show how they can excel in certain fields, they can't do the bare minimum anymore, because that's what AI is going to take over. It's just not good. And I know it sounds awful, and that's what I really feel for them, because it's every sector is competitive. Whatever job they want to go into, it's going to be difficult for them. And I think there's going to be a lot more entrepreneurs over the next 10, 20 years, because I think a lot of people are going to find every door closed, every route that they want to take has been taken by their peers, that they just can't get any further. And it's not through any fault of theirs at all, that they actually probably try and find their own solution. So they start being, I think we're going to see the gig economy get bigger and bigger, and freelancers get bigger and bigger, because businesses will be slimming. Again, AI is going to influence this. They're going to be slimming their workforces. They're not going to be taking more people on. The only way that they can get experience is just probably by doing it themselves and actually being freelance. And it's not right. I'm not saying that is how the world should be. I just think that is how technology and how the world of work is shaping up to be. And I think it's the drive that's going to get people through. And going back to what we talked about earlier, the extrovert, introvert, I don't think you have to be a very, very confident person. You don't have to be sort of showy and out there. But I think having a confidence in knowledge. So you've developed yourself. You've learned. You're able to put yourself out there in a however you feel fit. But the confidence is going to come from what you know.
Sure.
And what you can learn and what you can give to businesses, and you sort of packaging yourself up with a little bow that way, because the traditional routes, I think, are just going to close until and shrivel up almost. It's really sad. It's as I say, I think young people have got such opportunities with such as technology. There's so many things that it can help them be, but the society hasn't moved on to meet it. So we still expect people to, say 21 years old, to have 10 years experience and pay them entry level wage, minimum wage. And it's employers have got to meet them halfway. Their expectations of what they want isn't fair either. But then there are people, say my age, which I know we're on podcast, but I'm not the youngest, that go in and they're struggling for jobs, but at least they've got qualifications and decades of experience behind them. So how's a graduate going to compete with that? You know, the job market is so tough at the moment. There's so few roles, so they might have to create their own destiny.
It's mind blown. Great advice, and I think a fair insight and point of view as well. What's the dream?
I would love to have an immersive experience event company that I work in full time. That is my goal, and I would love to centre it along crime and true crime, criminology, human nature. I'm not a psychologist. I don't learn that way. I'm not an academic person. We were talking about the way brains are and how they're wired up. I've never been academic. I learn by doing, seeing, experiencing.
Hands-on,
absolutely hands-on. So I might not be someone who's gone to university and got a psychology degree, but I've done the same amount of hours sat in a coffee shop watching everybody, because I love doing that. You sit in the window of a coffee shop, you just watch human nature pass by you through the window, and I find people so fascinating. And that sort of thirst of wanting to meet people, wanting to have new experiences, I think is what gets me further, unintentionally maybe, but I would just love to have people come to my experiences, whatever that might be. I've got so many ideas of immersive experiences I could do, and I'm go away and think that was good, that I'd do that again. And I go to so many, and there can be different types of experiences, but it's very rare that I've gone up, and in fact I don't think I ever have gone up to the organizer afterwards and said that was amazing. But when people come on mine, I get that all the time.
Very good.
I hope I can continue with that, but I need to get out of the starting blocks. I think in 2 years it does disappoint me that I've not maybe got further, because it's a fantastic thing. I'm biased but it's a fantastic experience, and it's difficult to get that across, really. I need to follow your advice and go down that route, but.
Can I make another suggestion as well?
Of course you can.
So I can really feel, and I love the passion, because I can feel it, not just hear it. For all your past events, all the clients that you've worked with, all the projects you've done, when you go back today or over the next week, I'm going to task you with this. Open your database, open your list, open your black book, get in touch with all of them and ask them to make a video testimonial of how they felt, and post that to you, so that you can put that onto TikTok, LinkedIn, and all your socials to say, it's not me saying it. These are the people that have gone through it saying it. Yeah. And I think that will speak volumes to the right people that might need more help and support in critical thinking and that experiential impact on how we can help them with the business. There's 3 questions I also like to ask them past clients. And I share this with full transparency, so it can try and obviously you can chop and change it and tweak it and make it different, and so feel free to do that. Is to the person that booked you, ask them.
I don't have many past clients. This is the thing.
Okay, so it's brand new.
It's not brand new, but I haven't managed to get off the ground.
How many events have you done?
I do mainly the events in schools, so I could do that for schools, and I could go to I do have the testimonials from, say, someone at the NatWest, from someone at Barnsley College, Hill House School, and that's a private school. But I haven't managed to get into businesses. This is the thing. This is the problem, really.
No, it's fine. It's not a problem. It's just your journey.
Yeah.
So go to the schools. The person that booked you, you want to ask them what piqued your interest to kick off the conversation. Because you're going to find, how many schools have you done, or how many events have you done altogether? Half a dozen, less,
half a dozen,
half a dozen.
Yeah.
Out of the half a dozen conversations, when you ask that first question, it'll validate and give you the nugget of information that you might think it's that, but it'll validate it is that, with regards to what piqued their interest to kick off that first conversation. Yeah. The second question is to say to them is, that piqued your interest, we started the conversation, what did I say, what did you see, or what was it in our conversations that took it over the line? That was an idea, I'm going to commit. Yeah? What was that element of it? Out of 6 conversations, you want to pin that down as well. And then the what I normally do is the third question is, this is part of my onboarding process, yeah? But because we're past the onboarding process in this case for yourself, so normally my question of the onboarding process would be when I've got someone over the line where we've been talking to them, I ask them 2 questions. And my third question is, let's fast forward 12 months. What is that one thing that we need to achieve to make this whole investment worth its while? And that's then what I keep reminding the client as we go on the journey. We're working towards that one thing, working towards that one thing. In our case now, it's slightly different because we're not on the onboarding. We've passed it and we've delivered. So the question you want to get is probably, what was the impact? Yeah, from doing that exercise. Yeah. Because once you get that 1, 2, and 3, what piqued your interest, what got you over the line, and what was the impact, that will start to give you the narrative that you need to reach out to more people. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And once you put that on social, you put that in a way that you can reach lots of people on LinkedIn, on TikTok, etc. The right people. So just on Wednesday gone, I was with Andreas, who's a property person in Leeds. and we were both celebrating the fact that he was doing exactly the strategies that I tell every business to do, which is get yourself on social media and don't sell, educate about what you do. Don't say anything else. Just tell people about what you do, why you do it, and how you do it. And that's all you need to do. Keep it super simple. And we were both laughing because we both came across this video or something where if you can explain what you do to a 7-year-old, and they can get it, then that means. And it sounds, I don't mean to sound like derogatory, but if we can dumb it down to that simplicity, then that means everyone will get what you're talking about.
I do need to work on that, definitely.
There's an opportunity for build your that narrative on how you're explaining it, but I think you're going to get some huge nuggets from them the experience you've got, and then that will start to build. That will feed your new piece of narrative or marketing going forwards. So you can get from where you are to where you want to be.
Yeah. No, that's good advice. Thank you very much.
So just to hold you accountable, in a month or 2 months, what's a fair window?
Probably 2 months because they'll be out of school at the moment, won't they?
Of course.
So I've got to wait for school
so
to
let's say end of October, early November. Yeah. I want you to post on social media, whether it's TikTok, whether it's LinkedIn, it's up to you, your choice. And I want to celebrate with you the move that you've made, the transformation you've made of putting content out, capturing that feedback, sharing them testimonials. But I want you to tag me in on LinkedIn or wherever to say, this is what I've done and this is where I'm going. Because it's the journey. Yeah. We're not expecting, huge goals. That might happen. We always say 3% of the market are ready to buy now. But you've got to put yourself out there so that they can gravitate towards you. And if we win that 3%, happy days. That's like a champagne moment. Even though I don't drink champagne, I'll be a glass of water. But it's a champagne moment from that point of view. But it's more important about to really focus on the process. So that's what I'm gonna. If you're up for the challenge.
Okay.
Good stuff.
Yeah, we'll try it. Yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome. Dan, I really enjoyed the conversation. I wish you continued success. I hope lots of people that are watching and listening today that also enjoyed what you have to say and the businesses you're involved with regards. And we didn't touch on the book publishing business, but especially if they need any help or support in AI, help and support in critical thinking, improving efficiency in the team, that whole employee experience part. I hope they can reach out to you and start to have them conversations. I'll leave all your contact details in wherever we post this content online.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
And beyond that, we wish you continued success.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. It's been great. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.